Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Miss Campbell and today I'm going to teach you how to make this giant flower. The supplies that I used are cardstock, a hot glue gun, glitter cardstock, and I did cut the petals out using my Cricut Venture. You can actually make this project using any Cricut machine. If you want some tutorials on how to use a Cricut Maker, make sure you check out my description box because I did add a link to some of my other Cricut tutorials. I'm using the 24-inch by 28-inch standard grip mat made specifically for the Cricut Venture. After I peel off the protective layer, then I add my cardstock. This is 24-inch by 28-inch cardstock from Cricut, and it is made specifically for this mat. Once I take it out of the bag, I attach it, making sure that the ends are lined up. You can use a brayer or you can just use your hands to make sure it's attached to the mat. At the end of this video, I'll give you a more detailed explanation of how to use Cricut Design Space. Right now, I'm sending my petals to my machine to cut, and I'm selecting on mat since I am using that 24 by 28-inch mat. Once I have the petals on there, I go to continue on the bottom right. Then it takes me to this screen where I select my material. I'm going to pick glitter cardstock and press more for the pressure because I had a couple of issues just choosing regular cardstock, and I want to make sure that my material cuts all the way through. So I just want to be safe because I don't want to waste my cardstock. So I have to press the button to make the mat stands come out. And that button is located at the bottom left. And then I load my mat and pull the lever down. Once the mat is inside the machine, then I press the load button, which is on the right side of the machine. And this is how it cuts. If you are using smart vinyl, you don't need to take the mat holder out, but if you are using a mat, you definitely need to. And don't worry, your machine will tell you if you have any mistakes because there were a few things you had to learn when cutting with your Cricut Venture. It's a little different from a regular Cricut Maker. Make sure you are subscribed to my channel if you want to learn more about Cricut, crafting, education, and more. Also, I have another Cricut Venture tutorial on how I made this teacher stool, so check that out on my YouTube channel as well. Once our material is finished cutting, we're going to lift up that lever on the left and pull our mat out. I first peel off the excess cardstock and then flip my mat over and peel the mat away from the cardstock. That way the cardstock stays flat. If you peeled your cardstock from the top, then your cardstock would curl up. And that's just a little trick that you learn when you've been crafting for a while. I'm using this mat to show you all the measurements. So we have 3 different sizes of petals. This is the large size and we need 6 large petals. Next, we'll need our medium-sized petals. And I'm going to also show you the measurement of that. You can see the inches at the top. I wanted to make sure I showed you all the measurements just in case you don't have a Cricut machine. You can definitely draw this by hand and cut it out yourself. Now we have the smallest petals and we'll need 4 pieces of those. Now I'm grabbing my glitter cardstock that's cut into a circle and this flower looking piece of cardstock that goes into the center of your flower. I'll show you what we'll do with that when we finish our flower. The next step is to take petals and we're going to fold them in half. You can do 2 or 3 at a time to save time, but you want to make sure that it's even and just fold it so it has that crease. Pay attention to how your paper is folding. You should have it folding like a card, and then you grab a pencil and curl the ends just like this. You could use a regular pencil. I just happen to have a big pencil, and this is how you want all of your pieces to look. Next, we are adding some hot glue at the bottom because we have a little flap. So you want to overlap it just a little bit so we could create a 3D effect. If you overlap it too much, then your flower will stick out a lot. You want to just do it a little bit because even by doing it a little bit, your flower sticks out a lot. So just be aware of that. Now I'm finishing up the rest of my paper flowers, and you want to also be careful with this hot glue, especially the Cricut brand hot glue gun, because I have burned myself on that thing many times because it gets so hot. Once I have all of my petals glued, I have a large circle and I'm going to add hot glue at the end of my petals, and I'm just going to attach it to the circle. Be careful because I just burned myself, if you can see. When you add your petal, you can either wait a little bit to touch it, or you can just grab like a pencil, which I'll show you in a second, to make sure that it's down. If you don't press it down, your cardstock probably will come up. So just make sure it is attached on there so it can be secure. Please be mindful in how you're attaching your petals. Make sure that it is even so that way you have enough cardstock and so that it looks pretty. So here's the last petal that we're gluing for the large pieces. And once we have that finished, it looks like this. Then we are going to move on to the medium-sized petals. And you just want to make sure that you're also lining it up evenly so that they're spread out. And what I'm doing is eyeballing it so that I have the center of my crease meeting the middle of where the big pieces meet. However, it honestly doesn't make a huge deal. You don't have to be scientific with how you glue the petals, but you just want to make sure that it is even so it looks nice. So we're just going to finish up gluing the rest of the petals and then move on to the smaller petals. Now let's grab the center of the flower that I showed you earlier, and we are also going to use the pencil to curl the ends so that it can pop out of the flower. This is the same method, except we're just being a little bit more careful because the cardstock here is cut pretty thin. We're going to add some glue on there and then put it in the center of the flower. And the final step is to add your glitter cardstock circle piece to the middle. That piece is not a perfect circle because I cut it by hand because I think I was being lazy and didn't want to use my machine. Here's how the final product of the purple flower looks. I think it looks really great, and here it is compared to the yellow flower. Leave a comment and let me know which one you like better, the yellow or the purple one. Now let's go into Cricut Design Space for a mini tutorial on how to use it. I will link my Cricut Design Space profile in the description box. And if you go on my page, you'll see all of my public projects there. Each project has all of the cut files that you need to make the project that you see on the front cover. I do need to update some of the cover photos, but there are a few projects there that you can check out if you're interested. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll back up and click 3D flowers. Once we select the project, it will take us to this screen, and I'm clicking the button that says customize, and it'll take us into the canvas, which is what they call this area with your designs in them. I added all of the images here from Cricut Design Space by searching. I clicked images on the left hand side and typed in flower petal, and this will pull up all of the flower petal options that they have available in Cricut Design Space. I wanted to search for larger petals, and it will just show as one petal. You'll see that there are some flowers there, and I think you can make large flowers with those, but we're just going to stick with the large singular petals. So you can just scroll down and take a browse at some of the different options they have. And then I'm scrolling back up to show you another feature. Click the three buttons and go to view similar images, and it will take you to the similar images that the artist created. And I am going to click on a petal that looks similar to one that's in the cut file, and I added it to my canvas, which is basically what they call the space that we're using here. Once we have our petal, I wanted to add the cut at the bottom end of the petal. So I click on shapes and add a line. You'll notice at the top left where it says operation, it says score. So we're going to go ahead and change that to basic, and that's under cut. So then we select the line and the petal and go to attach. This will make our machine cut the petal, and it will make that cut so that we can overlap it. So that was just an explanation of how I made those petals. If you would like to change the colors of your pieces, simply select it and click the little box that has the different colors. This is going to come in handy when you have different pieces that you want cut on different mats, because if you can see on the left side, you have the different mats based on what color each item is when you're in the canvas. Let me know if you have any more questions about Cricut Design Space, and I'll be happy to answer them. Thanks so much for watching. Please leave a comment and let me know if you learned a tip or two by watching this video, and I will catch you in the next one. Take care.